Good evening, everyone. It's the Activated One New Bright 10, the Futuritarian, and this video is going to be on the word vote. All these people going out to vote. Now, when you see these people going to these voting booths and you see them getting emotional before the election, each election that's being played out it's always going to mess with the mind frame of the people, the governmental. It's always going to mess with the mind frame of the people. Is this person more worthy than this person? It always comes down to two candidates. The yin and the yang comes down to the two. And then you get to the one, you have one candidate that represents the chief status of controlling the military and also being in the forefront of trying to get certain things passed through the Congress. Why do they have the Congress set up? The Congress is set up because it's always been a collective as a council. It's always been that. And then you have the one that makes the final decision, but the council plays a big factor in making decisions to move stuff forward into the future. So now this election that's going on and in this day and time, dealing with these candidates, and I see certain people on the internet thinking that their vote is actually going to help them evolve into the future. You know what's so funny? Now, when you're dealing with the Amish, the Jewish communities, you'll never see them on commercials talking about the vote. Why is that? Why don't you never see them on commercials talking about it? You know why? Because they know in the long run, it doesn't benefit their community. That's why they don't vote. But who do you see on the TV? Like I told you guys, black and white is the same. Who's the majority of people you see on the TV right now that's advertising? That's advertising the voting, the elections. That's the black race and the white race. Just like some of y'all like to say facts. Don't even use that word. But yeah, that's the reality of it. The next commercial you see is going to be a white person. It's going to be a black person because they're working off the same energy, like I stressed in my last video, the yin and the yang. They're working off the same the teeter-totter energy system. That's why when you're dealing with some of these record labels, that's out right now. A lot of them's owned by the Jews, right? But when you look at mankind is a parasite. So what does parasites got to do? Parasites have to feed off a host. If a parasite doesn't feed off a host, what does the parasite do? The parasite evaporates into nothing. So that's why when you call yourself black, that's fine. But you also have to know that you're the host for the parasite when you say that. You're a host. You're a host for the parasite. What happens to a parasite when it does not have a host? I have to repeat myself. The parasite will die off. So when you're dealing with these record labels and these people that want to get signed through the signs, they have to go through a chain of command. They have to go through a chain of command to get the money. And see, that's why the paper chasers, when you're chasing money and you're trying to get the so-called bag, you never know what people you encounter to get that bag. And the mind frame, what you're pushing to the children's minds. So these people that you're voting for, or even if you decide to vote, everybody's not voting. I can mega stand that. Everybody's not voting. But for it to be pushed, it's being pushed because they have to push it to keep that, to keep it going in your mind, to keep that emotional shock wave. It's an emotional shock wave that goes through your mind. So people talk about Donald Trump. Um, what's the other cat? Joe Biden. Like my brain goes on standby. It's still functioning, but it goes on standby because they don't really run nothing in this country. They don't run stuff. They don't even own the banking system. All these presidents don't own no banking systems. Why do you think they went over there and help aka liberate what was that, Libya I think, with Gaddafi? Because allegedly one of the reasons why is because he was trying to make his own currency. See, it's always going to be about the money, because when you control the money, then you could control the slave people, the ones that would do anything for money. So that's why they had went over there in Libya to get Gaddafi, because he was allegedly trying to make his own currency. Current. What's a current? Just like an electrical current, currency, current, electricity, the electrified ones. That's why I got this picture right here of 460 volts, because the stealth definition of the word volt is volts, the electricity. That's why they call them the electoral votes. Electoral votes. That's why they call them that, because volt is the stealth definition. Volts is the stealth definition to the word vote. Vote. The election, the election, electing somebody to keep y'all from being electrified, or following somebody who is electrified. That's where the word vote comes from. It comes from the word volts. That's why they had to set it up, the electoral votes. The reason why they set the electoral votes up is because they can influence, because you got to understand it's all about mind control. That's why it's called the governmental, because it's controlling your mind. And all these people being emotional out here with Donald Trump and Joe Biden, and then you see a grown ass man or a grown ass woman getting an argument over people they don't even know personally. See how simple minded, man, the majority of the U.S. citizens is that vote. They act like little 3-year-old kids, little 4-year-old, 5-year-old kids, because they want somebody to believe what they believe in. Believe in what? A lie. Because they don't control nothing in this. The president doesn't control nothing. They're the forefront of the controllers. So when you sit there and you want to sit there and make an emotional comment or an emotional conversation about these electoral votes and these presidents, or not presidents, but these candidates that's out here trying to get elected, what's the elect? The electricity. Why are they trying to get it elected? To defer you from the electricity. Who's the electricity? The activated ones, the electrified ones. It's all the diversion to keep everybody still with that. What's that one song? We are the world. We are the children. They want you on that mind frame. They don't want you to be soldiers and warriors. They want you on that mind frame, holding hands with everybody, singing Kumbaya, and watching TV and being real good mental slaves. The electoral votes. Well, actually, it's votes with an S. It's not vote. See, they took the L out and they put the E there. That's how mankind do. So when I see people out here voting, or somebody's trying to ask me, did you vote? Or I seen one brother on the internet, and he was just pushing Trump, which he has the right to do that. You know, it's a free country. He has the right to push, you know, whoever he wants to vote for. But it's like, okay, what's Trump is not doing nothing for you or your community. Just like when these Arabians, these Somalians, these Koreans, these Asians, and some white people. There's some so-called white people too. Post up in these so-called black neighborhoods, take all the money, you buying all the tobacco products from them. If you don't have a vehicle, then you might go up there and get some eggs, some milk, juice. They're making all this money and they don't get a community back nothing. Why? Because they look as black people as beneath them. Just like the Jews call them the goyim. But like I said before, you cannot feed a parasite unless you want to feed the parasite. That's why you're dealing with these rappers and these entertainers and everybody that's out here that's letting the parasite feed off of them. I have no respect for them, because now you know everybody's going to hear the message. Ain't going to be no excuses no more. And then I'm not talking about religion. I'm just talking about the simple fact of the earth evolving. This is evolution, not revolution. Revolution never worked. That's why when I say I'm not black, because it's the so-called black race, they always go backwards to try to fix problems and fix solutions. You can't go backwards and fix anything. Revolution ain't going to fix nothing. It's always been about evolution. The mind of your children, extending your mind. That's what it's been about. Period. That's why the word vote was changed. The word votes was changed into the word vote. The word volts was changed into the word vote, because it's always been about the electricity. They put this stuff in your face because they know the mass majority of people, they're still zombies. They're still walking with their eyes closed, hands out, running straight into a light post. But that's fine though. Somebody got to do it. The electoral votes. $460 votes. 4 plus 6 is what? 10. That's 1 and 2 zeros, which is it equals the quantum computer. What's the quantum computer? It's built in codes. It's built in ones and zeros. It's built in 3D, and it's coming from 3D back and forth to 4D. But see, that's why I said about the parasite. The parasites, and what was so funny, I was watching this judge show, and there was a Jewish guy on there. I'm not sure, but I think he owned his own record label. And I told my friend, I said, yeah, I said, man, she was like, well, you don't like the Jews? I said, I respect the Jews. I said, but some of the things about the Jews, because I know how they act when they're behind closed doors. And I was like, yeah, I said, because it was a so-called black dude was getting sued by the Jew over some music that he had did. And allegedly the Jew didn't pay him for his services. And this is a two-way street. So, but on the Jewish aspect, so I said, I told my friend, I said, I said he probably called him a goyim or something like that or whatever. And what was so funny, because the brother was telling the judge that he had said some racial slurs to him, referring to the Jewish guy, and the Jewish guy said, yeah, I said some racial slurs back to him also. And I looked at my friend and I said, I told you, I already know what he called him. But then when you look at the brother should have never been messing with the Jews anyway, because they're parasites. They feed off the so-called black race. And then you got the black race just giving them ideas, new songs, this and that. That's why I said, man, I am not black. This is the futuritarian. Simple as that. I don't care, because money ain't gonna move me. Money ain't never gonna move me. Black people get sold out every day, just like back in the day when they were in when we were in slavery. I'm saying we because that was my ancestors also. But the nowadays being sold out to somebody is majority dealing with money. It's dealing with some type of money, some type of currency. Somebody selling somebody out for some money. That's the power of the paper currency. Because one thing about paper currency, some currency is untraceable. That's why money currency is still out here, because a lot of it's untraceable. See, when you go 100% electronic, then you have to have, then there's a paper trail. There's a electrical paper trail system that it can be traced back to. That's why cash is still out here, because when you want to do something devious and you want to manipulate somebody, you have to use untraceable cash so it doesn't trace back to you. That's why cash is still out here. And then everything's going to go into in the future, everything is going to be electronic through electrical form, but they're figuring out a way right now on how to do certain things untraceable electronically. Until that happens, then paper's still going to be out here, because they still have to put and give these some of these cats out here money to sell you out. That's why paper's still out here. The electricity, electoral votes. That's why it's called an election. What's the shin? The elect is the electrify. The ones, the election is to keep it, that basically just keep it on a hush, because they don't want the electrified ones to be electrified no more. So when you go down there and vote and you think that you're really trying to, make a change, okay, we live in a society where you can do pretty much what you want to do, right? Living over in the U.S. So when you go down to vote, you might be doing it on a patriotic mental mind frame, and then some people might be doing it on trying to change something. The change in mind frame of you going down there to vote, you ain't not going to change nothing voting. Now, if you want to be a patriot and you want to do your part to make it seem like that you playing a part in a factor in this society, and you go down there and vote, then that's fine. But if you're looking for change, change is only going to come from the one that's running this. Like I said, these presidents don't run no banking systems. They don't. They still cutting their checks. They're dealing with these votes. These votes. Just took the L out, added an E, and put it behind the T. That's why I said, man, ain't nobody coming with nothing next. They can't even decode stuff. A lot of these people, there's not even. I got one brother, that's on the internet, and he's doing this thing with decoding astrology. But as far as he's decoding, because there's a couple of brothers out on the internet, they're doing astrology, which really don't really, doing astrology, that's just, it's a ritual. Because the word ritual means you have to prove yourself from a ritual, and then once you prove yourself from a ritual, then rich you will be. That's where the word ritual comes from, because then you will be rich. That's why it's called rich you will, because rich you will be. But you got to do this first. That's where the word ritual comes from. So voting is for the votes. Voting is for the votes. It's the activated one. New Bright 10, the Futuritarian. Good night.